Hey guys, it's Mathel here once again with a follow-up video on Cats on Crit. At this point, Lancing Steel, Assassin, Soulrend. Well, Soulrend, Cats, a whole bunch of this. By this point, the character is level 95, took on all content, was a very smooth build, very nice for mapping, very nice for single target, and just a lot of fun to play. There's like a good couple of minutes of clips here where I'm doing ultimatums, and you can select to have slower projectiles as one of the, we'll call it a downside. And then it just looks like a glorious mess like this. And it's quite a lot of fun to just have an absolute cascade of Soulrends slash cats slash celestial balls that you'll see in a second coming out of your character and just cleaning things up. So at this point, I think I am still using the Soulrend of Spiral, which is one of the new Soulrends that just shoots out a lot of the Soulrends in a spiral around you. And I did use that for clear for quite a lot of the character, up to maybe level 92 or 3, at which point I did swap into Soulrend of Reaping, which is the other Soulrend that just hits really hard and has no other additional projectiles or damage over time. You then can build into poison with it, which I ended up doing, and I'll talk about that in a sec. So the build ended up kind of pivoting a bit to Lancing Steel with Soulrend. So this is the other Soulrend MTX that you can get. It pivoted to Lancing Steel instead of Cobra Lash because Cobra Lash was there for sort of a dual scaling, hopefully meme chain scaling hybrid thing, but ultimately it didn't really become that. It's more of a Soulrend build, and then Lancing Steel, the new Lancing Steel, just procs Soulrends much nicer than pretty much anything else. The new Lancing Steel is a top tier cast on crit proccing device, and creates some pretty smooth gameplay. All you need to do at that point is get at least one pierce on your gear somewhere, gear or a passive tree or whatever, if you want to use return projectiles. So I do have return projectiles in the build because that helps with your procs on your Lancing Steel and also helps with just Soulrend screen coverage, and then also stacking poisons for various damage scaling sources that we have, usually for poison duration. So with the return proj, it does become a bit of a chaotic mess, as you can see. You can obviously go nimmies as well if you want to just like increase your damage output by quite a lot, but it's not really too necessary. It will probably just cause a bit more of a chaotic playstyle since your projectiles are going to go everywhere. But it's absolutely doable, and yeah, pretty, worth if you want to squeeze out that extra damage. By this point of the character, for me, with level 21 gem and a bit of damage scaling and all that, I think I do end up hitting dot cap. So I don't think I've ever had a poison build hit or do as much damage as this one with a bit of ramp. So I think it's my most successful poison build to date, and that is kind of shocking given that I started an assassin, what we all thought was a bit of a meme ascendancy, and what I wasn't really expecting to go too large. Like, I did think that there's going to be some kind of poison damage build in here somewhere that does all right, but it is solidly one of the best builds of the league, if not maybe even the best at this stage. It did farm all the Ubers comfortably, and the damage was very high, and then with all this life gain on hit that we get for both the Lancing Steel and a little bit for the Soulrends through the Vitality Watcher's Eye, with all the life gain on hit, you become near immortal as long as you are attacking and you don't get one shot, which doesn't happen too often because 4.5k life or so, and then a bunch of evasion and some small defensiveness here or there does provide you with enough of a buffer zone to pretty much never actually get one shot. And if you don't get one shot, then your life bounces straight back up to full whenever you're getting attacked en masse, and you're then also actually killing things pretty damn quickly with the amount of ramp that we've got going. So it's actually pretty nice and pleasantly surprising for a poison build to have such good sustain, because they are a bit notoriously tough on sustain, given that you don't like leech very well, and building into lots of regen isn't that easy. So we do have decent regen, we do have decent life gain on hit, and then just very good AoE screen coverage, so things die pretty quick, and the threats get eliminated rather swiftly. But ultimately, it was just a really good bossing character, because you could be pretty ranged, you could be pretty single target, face tanky, focused, and then you can stack up withers as fast as you want. If you actually do the balance of terror, you could have withers go up immediately. I did end up getting just a small wither on hit charm, up to like 14 or 15%, and then using the mastery for 5% chance to give 15 withers immediately, as well as a wither totem, just to really make sure I've got reliable huge stacks of wither. But the charm and the mastery, or balance of terror if you choose, will just be much more potent in the end for clear as well as for regular bossing and stuff. And then this is what some of the uber ramp damage is like. With the type of setup I've got, the POB might tell you that Unbound Ailments is one of the best support gems that you can possibly do, because it's just huge damage effectiveness, but a lot of the damage on that is incorporated in duration, so you got to be careful when you're building a poison character to not get too carried away with like fake POB damage that just goes millions and millions and millions and lots of duration and stuff, because some of it is just theoretical. You won't actually be using that duration, since bosses often won't get to that stage. And there is an example of a fireball hitting my minion and then exploding on me, so be careful of that too. I didn't know that the scorpion could get hit by fireballs. In any case, as I'm saying, by this stage of the character, I think I've got something like an 8-second duration on my poison, and half the time I don't even get to use that 8-second duration on plenty of bosses. So Unbound Ailments, for example, was not really any better of a support gem to swap into for single target or anything, because you won't make use of that extra duration on the poison, essentially. Sometimes you will. It's really up to the individual character, case by case basis. But as you can see, once you get your single target ramping, it's pretty damn good. With this setup, you don't have GMP, you just use deadly ailments, and then you have a single projectile from your Soulrend going off, and lots of projectiles from Lancing Steel as well, still. So you do kind of have to position yourself a bit better and make sure that the Soulrend is flying in and out of the enemy and getting plenty of effectiveness going. So it becomes a little bit like tougher to properly connect your hits, but really not a huge issue. And then this is just pure raw non-MTX Soulrend with a tough-ish sort of feared encounter, but probably one of the smoother ones I still do regardless. So all in all, very good character. Can be done pretty cheaply, like it's not super expensive to put this together. I did have to make a sword for the Lancing Steel, so same way I made the claw, but instead made a sword. And yeah, the rest of the gear isn't too huge, and then probably on something like a 20-30 div budget, had one of the strongest builds, would have had this league. So I hope you guys enjoyed the content and the character. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.